But let's start with Victor, because what did I do a couple of days ago? I talked about Victor's process versus his results and discussed why I've been struggling a little bit with Wembanyama's process, despite the fact that in the game that I watched, he had like 30 plus points and was really, really good and drilled 6 threes and looked incredibly fun. My issue was twofold. It was first that I do think that he tends to settle too early in the shot clock from too far away from the rim. But B, it was that I think that oftentimes the Spurs offense kind of operated without him necessarily being involved. Like every time he was very clearly involved, but every time that Victor would take a shot, it almost felt like Victor was doing his own thing as opposed to sets being run and the team getting him offense within the flow of what the overall group was running, right? So last night, Victor Wembanyama goes for 50. And I want to talk about why I think this process was drastically better in regard to what he looked like and how he got his shots. Victor Wembanyama last night, by the way, he still took 16 threes in 32 minutes. I don't really have a problem with the threes. There are a couple in this game that I had a problem with, but I don't care if he shoots 10 threes in a game. My issue is I want it coming within the flow of the offense. I want it coming, within a general, not like wildly early in the shot clock where it seems like he's trying to just force the issue a little bit. I'm okay with him shooting threes. I just want it to be within the run of play, and I want it to make sense for everybody involved within the San Antonio offense. So let's just dive in and break down Victor Wembanyama's 50 ball. So Victor goes for 50 points on 18 for 29 shooting, 8 for 16 from 3, 6 for 9 from the foul line, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. We're purely going to break down the shots this time. In the video I did a couple days ago, we broke down his defense. We talked about some of his passing. I've done that already. We know Victor is really getting better as a passer. We know he's truly probably the best defender in the league already. I want to focus on the shots this time. And what I want to call your attention to is, more than anything, even if Victor only made like 2 threes in this game or something like that, right? He still would have had 32 points if he made 2, or if he made 3, he would have had 35 points, right? He got many more shots than just the threes tonight. And that's what was so impressive to me about his game. So let's just kind of dive in and talk through it. So I think second possession of the game here, early screen for Steph Castle. Little step up, pick and pop. I'm for it. Like, this is something that, to me, yes, it's coming early in the shot clock. It's coming at 18 seconds in the shot clock, but this is a wide open 3. Like, Bob Carrington is not bothering him on this closeout. Like, he's close, but he is not tall enough to contest that release point, right? So I'm totally good with this shot. Even though it's early in the shot clock, 3-point, this makes sense to me. It's open, it's early, it's easy for him, it's within the flow. He's getting, we're getting penetration here from Steph Castle, and then he's just hitting the kickback pass. This is the kind of stuff that I like. The next one, again, we're going to come down in transition. I kind of think that this is one that I don't like, but he drills it and he starts to feel it, right? This is one of the examples of ones, I think he probably went like 2 for 6 or something, 2 for 5 on these shots in this game. I'd probably prefer that he takes fewer of these just like early, easy threes, but hey, you know what? I guess if they're not going to guard you, fine, right? If you're trying to get a feel for if they're going to, contest you or what, trying to get a feel for how Alex Sarr is going to play you. Sarr ends up closing out short here. I mean, never gets within that distance of Victor. Okay. Like, I'd probably prefer you run offense, but it's fine. Now we're going to get into him grabbing and going. against Sar. And what I want to call out here is that I don't know if there's a team less equipped to guard Victor than the Washington Wizards right now, because here's the deal. I like Alex Sar a lot as a long-term prospect. I think this guy's going to be a really, really good basketball player. I think he's already a pretty effective defender a lot of the time in help situations. He's not strong enough to deal with Victor driving right now. If you go back and you watch the game against the Kings, Domantas Sabonis like stood him up a few times, right? Like really just used his chest, got his chest in front, and was able to stop Wembanyama from getting where he wanted to go. I actually thought Domantas Sabonis, a guy that I've had a lot of issues with defensively in the past, did a great job in that game on the ball against Victor. But Sar isn't strong enough to deal with this. And I think Victor recognizes this early. So what do we do here? I mean, look, he's bending his back here a little bit more than his legs, but like he's got some bend here through his lower half. He's definitely out leveraging Sar, despite the fact that Sar is, God knows how much bigger. I mean, Victor's chest is here, Victor's waist is there, Sar's waist is there. So even though he's using like back bend here as opposed to like true bend through his legs, he's still out leveraging Sar and getting lower than Sar here. I mean, that's what makes Victor so special. It's not the explosiveness athletically, it's the coordination and the flexibility athletically that makes him truly such an elite level playmaker with the ball in his hands. So here, this is great. We're getting into like a full half court set here. So Wemby's coming to set, kind of a double pin down here. Who is that? Is that Steph Castle coming up from the corner? No, it's Champagnie coming up from the corner. Champagnie decides to shoot through instead of coming up. Shoots through to try and get the cut here. Sometimes that comes available. Honestly, here it probably is available. Just the Carrington is right up on Chris Paul. This one's probably a little bit early for me. Sar is basically attached here. He's got the hand out to the 3-point line already. Not sure what's going on with my pen. Sar's hand's already out here to the 3-point line. I like that it's a little bit more of a set. I like that it's a little bit more of an action. In terms of footwork for Victor here, does always such a good job. He loves to take that left-right step. That's the key for him. He loves to get that left leg planted, get that right leg down and step into it. The shot prep looks the same every time with Victor for the most part. There are some times when he's floating to his left that he'll do something a little bit different. But this one, you can see it's just kind of flat, right? It comes out of his hand flat. It's just not a great shot. This is the inconsistency of Victor's shot right now. It just comes out a touch flat here. He made 8 threes in this game. By the way, Victor in this game, I believe became the first player over 6'9" to have 20 threes in a 3-game stretch, which is just ridiculous. Like he is now 6'3", 6 threes, 8 threes, I think, in his last 3 games. He's been unbelievable as a shooter in the last 3 after I think shooting 21% from 3 through his first 7 games. But yeah, this one just kind of comes off a little bit flat. So here, again, pick and pop. This one's within the flow. It's kind of a short closeout to me. We're at 15 seconds left on the shot clock as opposed to like 18 to 20. You know that he's coming out short. There's enough room here for Victor to not really get bothered. This is fine to me. He just misses the shot. But we're already, instead of it just being Victor like creating the shots or coming down in transition and firing, we're already adding a next element comparatively to the Kings game, right? We're getting a ball screen. We're coming off of like that side action where we had two staggered pin downs, and then he comes off of another pin down and shoots, right? The differentiation is already pretty real. So here he comes and posts Sar. I mean, Sar is just way too high here, right? Like you can see. I mean, he's just not low enough. Like his waist is already here. Victor's 4 inches taller. Waist is basically the same height. Sar's got to be able to get lower than this, which is why Victor's able to carve out some space. He also falls for that just nice, nasty little fake spin here. It's a tough shot, obviously, but 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Spurs need a shot. I'm pretty good with that attempt. That makes sense to me. It's a good shot. I mean, obviously, Victor is just such a menace on the offensive glass, right? Just such a monster on the offensive glass. Just completely seals off Jordan Poole there, makes it super easy. Goes up, gets the ball. He wants a foul even. Here, you can see how this is setting up already. You got Devin Vassell coming down for just a little pin down onto Jonas Valanciunas. Again, Jonas, a guy that, had a double-double in this game, I think has been really useful for the Wizards. But to my point on Sar last time, in terms of not being equipped to guard Victor Wembanyama, I mean, like, Jonas is strong as hell, but he just can't deal with Wemby in space as a off the ball or on the ball player. He's just not fast enough, not coordinated enough to be able to deal with this. That's the difference between him and like Domantas Sabonis, right? So, you get that little rub screen from Castle. This is one that, again, I don't necessarily love this shot given that it's contested. I would like to see Victor kind of take him off the bounce a little bit here. Obviously, it's a little bit hard. You've got Keyshawn George here in the corner, kind of getting ready to sag in and help off of Vassell. But I might try and do that anyway if I'm Victor. I might be like, hey, if I can get this help, if I can get Valanciunas off the dribble here with like a hesitation and get into the paint here, maybe Keyshawn George helps over and I get Devin Vassell for a wide open 3. I mean, that's just the little stuff that I think that's where his game's going to grow, right? This is a tough contested shot. Obviously, like we're at a point here already where I would guess he's probably like 4 for 8, something like that, 3 for 7. Let's see if I can count. Yeah, probably 4 for 8 at this point. He's going to get hot here moving forward in a way that he wasn't early on in this game. And I think it's because he started to attack a little bit more often than anything. So here, again, ball screen into a side pick and roll. This is what we want. Like, this is the kind of stuff. This is where the Spurs should live, in my opinion. This set is exactly where the Spurs should live. Early step up screen for Chris Paul. Chris Paul's going to go this way. Then Victor's going to go from the step up and go toward the middle of the court. Right? I love this. So opportunity there for a pick and pop if Jonas isn't right up on him. But instead, it gets you into an opportunity where Champagnie can come set a little pin down. And we can have, who is that? Is that Malachi Branham coming up? So Branham comes up, and now we're into like a DHO-ish, ball screen-ish kind of set here where Victor gets to get Keyshawn George here. All sorts of movement. Really hard to guard. You have Champagnie here switching with Branham. He's filtering down this way. A lot of moving bodies. Kispert steps up. He realizes he has to help here. He realizes he's the tag man in this ball screen. But the pocket pass just comes too quick. And Victor's able to get the shot, get the foul, make the bucket. That's where they should live. Like, that's such a great way to utilize Victor's mobility, utilize his coordination, his ball skill. Get into this like DHO movement based world. This is the way to create easy shots for Victor. It's not stagnanty offense where things look all the same all the time, right? Again, early screen into a step up screen for Victor. This one, to me, if you look at where he's coming from here, right? I think Victor tends to be better as a 3-point shooter. He steps all the way back here, and then he's going to step forward. He is much better as a shooter, in my opinion, when his momentum is going toward the rim. Finding ways to get him with his momentum going toward the rim as a shooter is key. Obviously, this is a contested look, right? But it's off of that little step up. It's an early action. If Kispert comes here, you can get a reversal here. If Valanciunas doesn't step out, you can shoot. There are just different things, different ways you can keep the offense in flow as opposed to him just coming down and shooting a transition 3, right? You can get Blake Wesley coming up and reverse the offense, get into a DHO. You can get into an empty side DHO here, right? Where you have Victor kind of filtering toward the rim or Victor popping, right? Like you have so many more options when this is your kind of offense that you're living in, is more of a half court based, early, very high ball screen. I mean, look at where, for instance, Victor's going to come set this screen. He's setting it pretty high up the court, right? This is the world where I think the Spurs can live in. Their offense just looks so much cleaner, so much better than what it did against the Kings already. Here, I mean, attacking in transition instead of just stopping for the 3, right? I mean, he's had games this year where I think he would have just stopped and popped here, in all honesty. But instead, he sees the mismatch in Valanciunas. He attacks, screens, flips the screen. Now we're into a DHO. And instead, he gets a wide open 3-point attempt. And yes, it's with his momentum going backward after I said that I like him more with his momentum going forward. And again, notice how I said earlier, he likes to get shots a little bit more with that left-right footwork. This time he takes it off of the hop, right? I think his base looks a little bit more narrow here than what it typically does. But in terms of just offensive flow and seeing where his game is going to go moving forward, this shot didn't go in, but this process is right. Like, this is where the Spurs should live. This makes sense to me. This is where he can be so lethal with his mobility. He's basically a big man taking a DHO that is usually utilized for a guard here. This is awesome. Again, just like a nice little early action. What is this? It's sort of like an early exit stack pick and roll. Again, instead of Victor just coming down and firing or being a little bit separated from the offense, here we've got this early screen, and this is what can make the Spurs such a difficult problem to solve here, right? A lot of the time, or 90% of teams, except for maybe like the Celtics, this guy is typically Victor in a stack pick and roll. And for people who aren't familiar with what a stack pick and roll is, a stack pick and roll is a man comes up and screens and then rolls to the rim. And then you get this player coming to screen for the roller and then popping out. Spain pick and roll, a lot of different names for it across the league. I think Victor, instead of waiting, he just sees, all right, I'm just going to shoot high because at the end of the day, Jonas is sagging deep. I'm wide open here. Wesley doesn't need the screen. This is an open shot. This is beautiful. This is within the flow of offense. And this is such a great way to weaponize. Again, like the ability to invert these things is what makes the Spurs, or what could make the Spurs, such a difficult offensive problem to solve once they frankly just get a little bit more offensive talent. because there aren't many bigs. Jonas here is the big who can deal with a big in a stack pick and roll being the pop man. That's hard. Their instinct is to stay in the paint. You can guard to guard switch, you can do some different things, but there are a lot more communication based errors that can break down there. I love this. This is where the Spurs should live. Let's get to a quick little note from Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money action. There are over 10 million members. Like I said a second ago, they invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks always puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. We are big fans of Prize Picks here. We absolutely love the app and what they're doing for the daily fantasy sports scene. Download the app today and use code Game Theory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use that code Game Theory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth for just $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For specific product disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. This one. Again, now we're getting like an empty side ball screen for Victor. And look at how much this is all coming in a flurry, right? Like the last 6 clips we've all watched have come in the early second quarter, and we're 3 minutes into the second quarter. This is just sick. Again, we're completely inverting the offense here. How many times has Jonas Valanciunas in his life had to fight over the top of a ball screen and basically try and play as like an ice big or as an ice guard in ball screen coverage? It never happens. That's what makes them such a difficult problem with Victor, and it's what makes Victor so special as a player. But again, we're driving toward the rim. We're getting downhill. Quick little step up. It fakes the dribble handoff again, right? We're just like completely inverting here. Look at Jonas. Jonas is at sea, it feels like. He's trying to slide his feet. He doesn't know where this is going. He eventually gets back to contest this shot. But this is 2-man game stuff. Like I'm fine with this shot, honestly. Even though Jonas ends up contesting it and getting out there, we're in just 2-man game world, and it looks a lot more in flow. It looks a lot easier to get Victor good shots. And on top of it, we're just getting a lot of different kind of actions at the top here, where you could get, okay, maybe the next possession, Wemby dives. Maybe the next possession, Chris Paul does like full scale, just execute this handoff and gets Wemby downhill. We're getting all sorts of different counters that we can build off of this stuff next time. So here, Victor, just want to showcase where he is. He's deep here in the corner, right? Just in case you can't see it because he just came on the screen. So this is a horn set. This is the set that, we saw the Sixers run a little bit for Embiid. A lot of teams run this stuff in order to get a big, like a post touch sometimes. So horn sets are, two guys at the, foul line extended ish area, two guys in the corner, point guard brings the ball up. This set involves Chris Paul coming through. If he's open on the cut because Harrison Barnes clips Carrington here, that's a pass that Champagnie has wherewithal to make. Instead, if that doesn't happen, Chris Paul's coming to like pin Alex Sarr here as a screener. And then you're going to try and get Wembanyama on the block, or Wembanyama has free reign to be able to counter and shoot up here. Some teams also add in a little wrinkle where after Barnes makes this, sometimes he'll come over and screen and set like a little extra pin down for Victor. Some teams enter it to Barnes and have Champagnie come down and set a pin down. That's what happens here, right? But we're getting in a flow. Like we're in offense here, right? This is how it's easier to build offense, how it's easier to build counters. And yes, like this is a heavily contested shot. Would I prefer Victor attack here and drive? Probably. Honestly, Sarr does a great job of kind of navigating this and getting through this screen. I'd love to see Wemby pump fake here. Champagnie realized, okay, I can just set a little ball screen and Wemby attack. Wemby's freaking 21 years old. Like, he's not going to get all these decisions right. And he's still dropping 50 in games. But again, we're building actions that can flow and counter off of each other in a way that even when he dropped 30 plus in the Kings game last week, that still wasn't really the case. And now we're just attacking Alex Sarr. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, good luck. Like, okay, one-on-one. So this is a good example of how Sarr just isn't really strong enough to deal with this. So we get between the legs. Look at this little shoulder hezzy here. This is so sick. This dude is 7'4". I mean, that's disgusting. And then drive, drop, bucket at the rim. I mean, like, welcome. This is like an ultimate welcome to the league, man. My God, like, you can't even. I feel bad for Alex Sarr having to deal with this. And again, we're trying to attack. We're getting downhill again, and he gets fouled this time. I can't emphasize enough. If you remove Victor's threes in this game, he still had 26 points. Now we're just Euro stepping around another 7-footer here. Like, seriously, I'm glad that you guys said this in the comments. Like, Sarr is 7'1", and Wemby makes him look not 7'1". He does make like Alex Sarr look small. Alex Sarr is a big dude, guys. I've like talked to Alex Sarr. It is hard to emphasize how big he is. Look at these two standing next to each other. Wemby looks so much bigger. So what are we running? Just a little pin screen into a post flash here. But we're attacking, right? This one, he gets blocked. Who cares? We're attacking. I love it. But again, we're building off of each other in these situations. Wemby, little pin screen for, I think Vassell. Sorry, no, I think Vassell goes the other way. I think Vassell goes backdoor here, which makes sense given that Wemby is here. He's trying to screen Bub Carrington here. Carrington gets through, but then we get the post flash. And again, now we're just ISOing. We're mid-posting here. I mean, that's a good block. Like, that's a really good block from Sarr. Sometimes the defense is going to beat you. It's okay. But I love the attacking. I love the ability to get downhill, get to the rim. This one here, semi late on the shot clock. I think that for him to be a truly like elite level offensive player, Wemby, he's going to need to do stuff like this in the mid post. I like the pump fake here. Get Sar kind of flying through the air a little bit. Clearly somebody on this bench said something to him. I have questions on who in the world would be talking to Victor Wembanyama when he's got like 25 or 30 at half. But you can see the way that he looks at the bench. Somebody said something, and he's not happy about it. Empty side ball screen, reversal. Again, like these are the ones where it's just kind of like a little bit out of flow for me, but you know what? Like when you're feeling it, it's hard for me to sit here and complain. And here's the other thing too. You do have Champagnie coming over. Personally, again, this early on the shot clock with Champagnie coming over, knowing that Champagnie is guarded by Jordan Poole here, I would prefer Wemby. I know he makes the shot, so this is going to sound fucking ridiculous. I'm aware. I would prefer that Wemby try to attack this and try to get downhill. This is like a 30-foot three-pointer. He drills it, but look, I don't love to make like too much out of body language here, right? But like you can even see like Champagnie's like shoulders drop a little bit, just a little bit. Like I do wonder if that was kind of out of the flow of the offense, but when you're feeling it, you're dropping 50. It is what it is, right? See, there we go. Again, attack. I think in the game against the Kings, we would have seen this ball just go up. We saw it probably go up against the Kings. Instead, he sees Sar's momentum going all the way out, and then he's just like, boom. This is too easy for me. One of the coolest parts about this game is one of Wemby's best friends is Bilal Coulibaly. So he got to drop this 50, fourth youngest player to ever go for 50 points in a game. He got to do it with one of his really, really close friends on the other team. Just getting to watch this. So here, high ball screen. I think he's just kind of feeling it at this point, in all honesty, and is just like, I'm taking shots here. It's a really good screen. I do want to call out like the excellent screen here. He just absolutely catches Bub Carrington here to where Carrington has to kind of spin back. That means Sar has to stay attached just that extra split second longer. And it means that the Spurs basically, or the Wizards, I'm sorry, basically have to next this, which means Kuzma has to come up and guard this. Nexting full scale would be like Sar now switching over to Champagnie and Kuzma taking Wembanyama. This is really just like a help while Sar recovers. This is quite early in the shot clock for me. But like he's feeling it. He's really feeling it here. This is a contested tough shot. But it's in rhythm. Like he steps into this beautifully. Like he's going left is planted already. Right step into it. It's probably a little too early, but whatever, right? High step up ball screen. One thing I love about a super high step up ball screen from Victor here, and this is like literally on the other side of the court, right? So Victor goes, he's going to set this little step up, right? It allows Chris Paul to get downhill, and it allows Wemby to get downhill on a roll. So now Wemby's trailing, but his momentum's coming forward. And Sar, his momentum is going the opposite way. It's going this way. So that makes it even easier to attack a closeout here, get all the way downhill. And this time he just hits this beautiful little mid-range fadeaway. But I mean, so few dudes are capable of that stop and pivot mid-range fadeaway. So few dudes are capable at that size of attacking closeouts like that. That's what makes Wemby such a special dude, such a problem that teams have to deal with. I mean, this one is just the Wizards making it too easy, in all honesty. Wemby just kind of gives Sar that little shove there. We get a little pin screen here from Barnes, and Kuzma's just asleep. I mean, this is one Wemby just has to take, in my opinion. Yeah, that's money. That might be the last three he makes. Might be this one. Yeah, it's this one. This is the last three he makes. And again, 15-point game. He's clearly on the hunt for 50 now. Look, this is bad process to me, but like when you're on the hunt for 50, your team's up 15. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, super egregious on this stuff. In general, we're seeing him attack more. We're seeing him try to get downhill more, drive more, get to the rim more, hit mid-range jumpers. This was a full 3-level scoring game from Victor. I mean, look at this now. He's trying to throw the ball off the backboard to himself. Carrington here cracks me up. Look at this. He's like, absolutely the fuck not. You are not doing this, Victor. You are not postering me off the glass. I'm not letting this happen. Victor's at 42 now after that last three. I love this. Again, just totally inverted here, right? Allowing Victor to get downhill. Really, to me, if I'm being picky, this ball could go here, but I think Jonas is kind of realizing that he needs to get back out. So there's a chance Wemby is just like reading this. In fact, I think he is. I still think I would rather the ball just go to Vassell here. I love Bub Carrington so much. Bub like legit just like shoves him, gives him a soft shove, not like a dangerous shove. He's just like, no, not letting it happen. Shakes his head, not here. It's a good foul. Again, empty side. And you get Victor going downhill toward the rim. This is awesome. This is an awesome set. Kind of like a pistol action here. Chris Paul. Branham going downhill. Paul ends up getting the ball. DHO to a 7'4" dude. With Kuzma being the guy who has to deal with kind of closing this area off. Yeah, I mean, Kuzma does a good job, but that's an awesome set. See, like everything is in the flow this game. There's so many more actions that they're running. Again, attacks the closeout, gets fouled going downhill, right? And what are we running here? Just a quick early pin from Champagny for Wemby to fly up off of a quick little entry here to Barnes. We're moving. Like we're actually moving here. Again, Carrington's like, absolutely not. I will not allow this. Just a quick little look at the free throw. Now we've got Kuzma on Victor. Again, Carrington's just like, absolutely not. We're not just getting cooked here. We're going to make him earn it at the line. Shout out Bub Carrington, man. Quick little entry pass in what is sort of a Hornsey kind of look. And Wemby is just like moving Kuzma here. Like Wemby is backing him down. He is forcing him toward the rim. I think Wemby has some like underrated strength. Kuzma or Carrington just goes for the ball here. Ends up coming up short, fouls him. Quick little double drag in transition. Switches. I mean, Kispert is just too small. Corey Kispert, also a dude that is bigger than what you think he is when you see him in person. Kispert is like a legit 6'7" and strong. Like he is a physical dude. So DHO, or not DHO. We're getting a double drag here. Early in the set. They decide they're going to switch it. And I love how Victor fights for position here. He decides I can get this guy down on the, mid post here, right? And just elevates over the top. If you can get those switches, that's where he can be like totally lethal. And then here, 8 minutes left in the game. Quick DHO, jumper attempt. Probably not what we love to see, but, whatever. It's fine. Look, that's all. That's what we want from Victor. We want games where he is actually playing within the flow of the offense, getting downhill, getting different opportunities, getting all sorts of different looks. And then the Spurs being able to build counters off of those looks instead of him just kind of going free reign and kind of doing a lot of different stuff. Right. I feel like through different points of this year, Victor has had, I don't want to say too much leeway because he is like a genuine star player. And I think it would be unfair to categorize it as too much. But I think they've probably given him quite a bit of leeway to go create on his own a little bit. I like this. I like it when it's within the flow of the offense. And of course, doesn't hurt that the Wizards are among the worst defensive teams in the league and particularly do not have a good matchup for dealing with Victor Wembanyama.